All right, what's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Congress is erupting over the most recent battle here on how to make America safe and this most recent school shooting here in Nashville, Tennessee. Look at this argument that erupted here outside of the House of Representatives floor between Democratic Representative Jamal Bowman and Republican Representative Thomas Massie from Kentucky. Take a listen here.
Question them, force them to respond to the question, why the hell won't you do anything to save America's children? And let them explain that all the way up until election day of 2024. They're freaking cowards. They're gutless. They're not here. I'm talking about gun violence.
You know, there's never been
I'm talking about gun violence.
in a school that allows teachers to carry.
Carry guns?
Would you
More guns lead to more death. Look at the data. More guns lead to more deaths. Guns, states that have open carry laws have more death. Are you listening to what I'm saying?
Yeah, calm down.
Calm down. Children are dying. 9-year-old children. The solution is not arming teachers. Have you ever worked in a school? Have you ever worked in a school? Have you ever worked in a school? Have you ever worked in a school?
I've got a bill to repeal.
I worked in the school for 20 years. I was a teacher. I was screaming before you came and interrupted me. Clown, he can't even answer a yes or no question. Ask them, why won't they pass legislation? Why? Ask him the question. Ask him right now. Make him answer.
Yeah, and this comes as I've seen a list here of school shootings here that have happened in the United States. Just take a look at this list here of schools that have happened, that this has happened to. It's breathtaking and saddening. And the sad part of this is that the United States is the only country that has a list of this size. When you look at this, it makes us wonder, what can we do? How can we prevent this from happening? Or do we just let this keep happening? Because the problem here is that this keeps happening over and over and over, and it's not stopping. And whatever we're doing now is not working. It's not enough. And if we just sit back and idly by and don't do anything, we just say, oh, well, you know, it's the people doing it, or we can't do it, it's not enough. It's going to keep happening. It's going to keep happening. So the question here is, what do we do? What do we have Congress do to prevent this from happening going forward? And I'll have to speed this list up because it's still going here. Look at how long this list is. I mean, it's truly saddening. It's truly saddening. I mean, look at how this list is still going. I mean, these are just schools, guys. These are just schools. This does not even include other public places and mass shootings. I mean, and the last one here is the truly saddening one, TBA, to be announced, because more will be coming here in the future. And when you look at this here, this is what really strikes me. 288 school shootings in the United States since 2009. And when you look at these other countries here, how many other these other countries have had? Canada's had 2, France has had 2, Germany's had 1, Japan has had 0, Italy's had 0, and the United Kingdom had 0. So why is the United States having hundreds of times more than the rest of these other countries? You can let me know down below in the comments. In fact, here in Britain last year, you can see this headline here from NPR. It took just one school shooting to pass major gun control. One. We have had hundreds. Yeah. In March of 1996, a gunman entered Dunblane Primary School, killing 16 students, a teacher, and injuring 15 others. to this day, it is the deadliest mass shooting in the UK history. This was back in 1996, guys. And remember, it's 2023 here. But that's where the similarities end. In the aftermath of that shooting, parents in Dunblane were able to mobilize with the kind of effectiveness that had eluded the American gun control activists. By the following year, Parliament had banned private ownership of most handguns as well as semi-automatic guns, weapons, and required mandatory registration for shotgun owners. There have since been no school shootings in the UK since then. Quote, the comparison between the US and Britain now should make shocking readings to anyone in America, says Mick North, whose 5-year-old daughter, Sophie, was killed at Dunblane back in 1996. He's one of the founding members of the group Gun Control Network, which advocated for new laws in the aftermath of that Dunblane shooting. Over the past several years, England, Scotland, and Wales combined have seen around only 30 gun deaths a year. By comparison, according to the CDC, the number of murders involving firearms in the U.S. in 2020 was almost 20,000. Wow. Now, I also want to show you this here. The U.S. used to have an assault weapons ban. Did the assault weapons ban correspond with drop in mass shootings? Here's what the data shows. And again, I just want to show you guys this so you guys can be informed, make your own decisions. And, a lot of this is up to politicians, which get elected one way or another, or it gets put on a ballot. So here is the data. Mass shooting deaths from 1981 to 2017. And here is the data. So this is when the assault weapons ban was passed, this red bar here. And you can see the mass shooting deaths in the US from 1981 to 2017. And then you can see since then, since the ban expired, the amount that has gone up. Now, obviously, we here in America, we consider it a right here for gun ownership. How do we find the right for safety and safety for our children as well? I definitely think we need to have those automatic locking doors in every single school. And we need to have police officers stationed at every single school, if not one, maybe two at all times. And Congress needs to give the funding to all schools here nationwide. This needs to be done yesterday. This needs to be done yesterday because you got to remember that not all schools have funding for this. And this needs to be something that needs to be passed immediately. This is something that needs to be a no-brainer here, a no-brainer. Let me know your thoughts here in the comments. But the problem here with Congress is that Republicans and Democrats have very different ideas on gun safety. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy was asked about gun safety here yesterday. Here was his response.
What do you think that Congress can do to respond to the shootings in Nashville?
Hi guys.
Speaker McCarthy, why haven't you made a comment on the school shooting in
Why don't you come to the
Nashville?
press conference tomorrow and ask me a question? What works better instead of running up to somebody in a hallway and put a phone in their face is just come to the press conference. That's when we ask questions, okay?
Really, because I don't know, Willie.
I don't know. In America, reporters usually ask people questions. Most have the dexterity mentally to walk and talk at the same time, answer questions.
Chew gum, even, all kinds of things.
Poor Speaker McCarthy.
And the questions he was being asked,
right.
Reporters had the temerity to ask for a response to the massacre of children and school
9-year-old
teachers
kids
in Nashville.
And that's his response?
No comment.
Here's a little bit more response from a Republican about this matter. Take a listen.
Congressman, I want to talk to you about last year's law, but first, I want to get your thoughts on an exchange we saw on the Hill yesterday that's making the rounds between Democratic Congressman Jamal Bowman and Republican Thomas Massie on this issue.
They're freaking cowards. They're gutless. They're not here. I'm talking about gun violence.
You know, there's never been
I'm talking about gun
in a
violence.
school that allows teachers to carry.
Carry guns? You think more guns lead to more death? More guns lead to more death. Look at the data. You're not looking at any data. You're carrying the water for the gun lobby. Look at the data. More guns lead to more deaths.
About as clear of an illustration of the divide between the parties on an issue like this as you're likely to see. What do you make of an exchange like that, the frustration from these lawmakers?
Well, there is a real divide. And tragically, you know, what we saw at Michigan State, what we saw a year or two ago at Oakland, Oxford High School in Oakland County in Michigan, Sandy Hook, Parkland. I mean, it's almost too many names to remember. But these hit home. And I know that in Michigan, my state, we're very close to having the governor actually sign some legislation that's going to expand background checks, provide for the red flag. You know, I know these former colleagues now up on Capitol Hill. It was all we could do last year. The NRA was neutral on this issue, but we actually passed, with only a handful or so of Republicans, a bill that would allow for an Amber Alert on telephones for an active shooter. Tom Massie was one of those who took to the floor and actively opposed it during the debate. And at the end of the day, we could not get the 60 votes to get something done in the Senate. So it passed the House, but ultimately it didn't go. NRA was neutral, but the Gun Owners of America, a group that's to the right, you'd say, of the NRA, actively opposed it. And it's very hard, as you know, John Cornyn said, senator from Texas. He was able to mastermind a bipartisan bill that got through ultimately to the president's desk. But it's going to be really tough, particularly now. You know, I mean, we even had co-sponsors of our bill in the last Congress who voted no on the active shooter bill. That's how strong this gun lobby is, and be very difficult to get anything done, even in the event of some terrible tragedy like we saw in Nashville earlier this week.
Yeah, so think about that. They can't even get past Amber Alerts, basically sending out notifications when there's an active shooter in your area. There's people opposed to that. So if there's an active shooter in your area, the gun lobbyists and people are against that. They don't want to notify you. They want you to be at risk. This is the battle. So think about this. Think about there's an active shooter in your area. They don't want you to know about it. This is for real. You're hearing this. This is from a congressman, guys, and he's a Republican now. So this is goes to show you. I'm literally at a loss for words. So write your congressman, write your senators. I'll keep you up to date here on the YouTube channel. So and again, I'm not from either party, but I really feel like we need to protect our children, and something needs to be done. I have a 5-year-old, almost 5. He'll be turning 5 here in a few days, actually. So yeah. So if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe down below. It's completely free to do so. New videos come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thanks for hitting the like button for us. Here's some videos you should watch next. Vladimir Putin tells his own people to prepare for nuclear survival. Click on that video here, or this video to see why the United Nations was called for an emergency meeting. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.